YouTube comments from a video titled, "How much food can I grow in 1 year?"
Part 6. At Sage0925 wrote,
Wondering why your roomies wouldn't let you have the whole yard. As you don't seem the type to keep the food all to yourself, seems to me they'd have benefited by letting you have the whole space.
Cesarin wrote,
Oh, wow, beekeeping. Even the pros don't make money off of honey. From what I understand, the main income in the area is from renting your hives to farmers as contract pollinators.
Cesarin wrote,
I see chalotses whenever I hear you say shallots. We put the accent on the first syllable here in the US, but your way makes them sound so elevated. I see chalotses whenever I hear you say shallots.
A cat lover 47842 wrote,
The starter cost you won't have again. All in all, the money paid for seeds was way less as when you would have sold the veg you harvested. On top of that, it was much work, but a pleasure and a feeling of pride and accomplishment to have all done it ourselves. Well done.
A Z3N1T4 wrote,
You don't grow the cheapest vegetables in the supermarket, LOL. You grow strawberries or high-value crop you can sell barter for other things. If you are trying to save money, protein is what you want. Chickens, quail, or pigeon if you can't keep larger animals.
At 112 Famine wrote,
Something to try, use your leftover pot roast potatoes to make home fries. Just dice them up with a bit of onion, salt, and pepper, and crisp them up in a frying pan. Amazing in the morning with eggs, or served with a hot roast beef sandwich.
At Lord Mustard wrote,
One question. Do you suffer from over-agriculture some seasons, or overtime? If you do or don't do, you have any tips on preserving your soil?
A Fine Cord wrote,
What I hate is when people try to make videos talking about how much it costs to grow your own food, and then list their gross cost and compare it to their net production. You don't list your garden tools and beds in your comparison. You reuse them every year. The only costs you should be considering are the costs of the food seeds you grew, and then any fertilizer's annual inputs. In your case, you bought soil, which is fine since you started from scratch, but any serious gardener would continue on with compost or some animal manure to maintain the nutrients without having to buy more fertilizer soil.
At Dia9491 wrote,
You did well for the first year. I know it's a lot of money at first to grow your own produce, but you don't have to build the raised beds again or do the original fill. You can save seeds as well. So next year your cost would be greatly lowered. It seems your courgettes that were not doing so well needed more light. The one that was thriving looked like it was getting more light. Try planting them toward the middle of your garden rather than closer to the fence. Places plants that need less light toward the fence. If it were me, I'd plant potatoes near the fence because they'll grow in height to catch the rays where the courgettes will stop growing without it.
At Mothman1856 wrote,
It saves more money the longer you do it. I can't wait to be able to do this when I get a home. I love seeing how small yours is and how much you were able to get from it. I hope your crops grow better each year.
At CrankyManx8423 wrote,
If you sprinkle used coffee grounds around your plant, the slugs will have a heart attack and die from the caffeine. No joke. Or sprinkle shell grit around the plants they hate crawling over it.
At CrankyManx8423 wrote,
Potatoes are ready to harvest when the plants turn brown and begin to dry up and die off. If you waited till the plants reached this stage, all those tiny potatoes would have had time to grow bigger. You would have had an amazing harvest. All up great work. I really enjoyed this vid.
At Brian Kirkvliet wrote,
Snail tip I sometimes understand. If you paint white around the vegetable beacon, then they won't go over it. I would paint the sides and edges white. I don't know if it works, but I've heard it. Sorry for me Bath English, not good in it. Greats from the Netherlands.
At Fishy2584 wrote,
Every human should have their own sustainable source of food. You can't be fully reliable on the stores, because that's how you go bankrupt during an economic depression.
A Kinky Winkapidinketo wrote,
Well, technically, the first year of doing this, you're not saving any money, but in the long run, you are. You don't have to buy any wood unless you're expanding or the wood rots. You don't need to buy as much soil as you may still have some left over. You don't need to buy as many seeds, because you can regrow some of the crops you just got, like maybe you could regrow some of the smaller potatoes. I mean, soil would be the only thing you really have to buy, I'm pretty sure.
A Chelgray wrote,
This is the first video I watched of yours and I'm hooked. Mostly on your voice and dictation, but your videos are well put together and entertaining.
New sub.
At Eric Girth wrote,
Nice video. And I'm not a harvester or something like that, but I can tell you one thing who I see do to my grandma. You don't need to plant the entire potato. Just cut the zone with something growing from the potato, unbrote de papa, en Espanol, and plant that. Anyway, great video.
A Smiletacot wrote,
Now you see how many work and how many thing is need to grow veggies. And we seed them every year in the same soil, but we need to save them from sick.
At Jesse Patrick 7471 wrote,
I grew 200 pounds of tomatoes last year in my backyard in MS, roughly grew about 100 pounds of watermelons. I didn't even weight the corn and gave huge amounts away. I didn't grow many potatoes, I used a bunch to start new ones. Now I have random potatoes all in my front side and backyard XD natural wild strawberries all around the area too. It's not a huge amount of land either, but I do have a good bit more space than you. From what I've seen though, if you applied some of this to growing out here, you would probably get a good harvest. Potatoes grow best when they have space though. Bucket potatoes are always tiny.
A Thuncalmbus 8052 wrote,
The only thing I know with potatoes is that you can build a cage around it and fill the edges with cardboard, then fill that with compost dirt to grow your potato plant bigger and have a bigger harvest.
A Penumbra Mine MM Ward wrote,
Your potatoes looked great. FYI, if you put a ring bottomless bucket around your potato plants when they are bushy about 2 months in, and fill it with soil, leaving 8 inches of leaves above soil, you will get more potatoes. The leaf branches will turn into roots with small potatoes. Wait until the tops have died before you harvest to get the best and biggest potatoes on the bottom. Oh, and the really large potatoes from the market for baking and frying wedges are GMO to grow that way and require a lot of fertilizer.
A Solaris 736 wrote,
Looks like a little bit of oxidation on the right face of the blade. Low middle above edge line of the blade. Might be careful or else the continuation of that can cause pit's pores, as well as the obvious rusting, which in turn can fairly easily, I believe, cause tetanus. In fuckaducks, you don't want that ayayat.
A Scruffy Beard wrote,
Tomatoes are a plant that you shouldn't plant more than a few plants of. A single good plant will grow an entire basket of tomatoes. My mother planted 5 plants and we ended up with so many tomatoes it filled up like 12 boxes, roughly 100 pounds of tomatoes.
At Boulder Creek Steve wrote,
The winter went on, and on's like yourself. Adults want you to get to the point, and quickly. Not film your childish exploits. We know how to garden. How quickly can you answer the question, how much did you grow in 1 year? That's all we want to know.
At Mr. Pablo Sec wrote,
Me and my family, had a small patch of ground 5 meters wide, 50 long. And for as long as I can remember, we always grew potatoes on it. There was enough of them for our family of 5, and they lasted for an entire year with a huge surplus. So we were basically self-sustainable, except eating just potatoes was meh lol. And when time to replant them came, they already sprouted a bit in our huge shed where we stored them and were ready to plant and grow again. They also grew incredibly huge, sometimes larger than a fist. And there could be like 8 of them on a single plant. Sadly, last year we didn't grow any, and thus we lost this kind of potatoes. We never knew what was the name of it, but they were basically perfect for both mashed potatoes and fries alike. The ones from the supermarket don't taste as good, man. They are trash and don't make good fries.
At autism_forever wrote,
In my garden, snails and slugs were always attracted to bright white surfaces. I built bright white walls. Every evening I poured water on that wall. I came back in 1 to 2 hours to find all snails and slugs sitting on wet white wall. I killed them all and washed away their remnants to not alert other snails and slugs. I did this until snails and slugs became extinct in my garden. As far as I know, they cannot travel very far.
Chairman Maoyo wrote,
I go through this maths every year. As long as society is still functioning, there is no point growing your own potatoes or onions when you can get 20 lb sacks of them for $4 at the market. I have limited space to grow and deliberately pick only the most expensive to buy produce. Peppers, certain greens, etc. potatoes and root stocks are your staple when you need to grow food to survive. We're not there yet, so talking about it in the terms of money doesn't apply.
At Gregsy7241 wrote,
Well done, young man. Good to see that you can provide abundance for yourself. Look forward to follow up on with beekeeping. Am keen to start, but first have to electrify an area, as we have a few too many bears that like honey in Canada. Quick tip. Next time you roast potatoes, take them to another level by cooking them with some bacon fat. Yes, the rumors are 100% true. As Canadians love bacon.
At Ashrichfield8400 wrote,
Comparing produce you buy yourself to produce you purchase from a grocery store isn't really a fair comparison. There's a lot of pesticides in commercially grown produce, even organic produce, and they're usually grown and shipped in ways that are really damaging to the environment.
At John Patrick Mithew's Music wrote,
The potatoes you can cut in half and plant twice as much or use 1/2 the amount when you first planted. But cool video. Love the honesty and the attempt. Good job. You forgot to add the cost of the water too.
At Alucard45,000 wrote,
Planting potatoes like that in Norway is very illegal, unless they are special potatoes bought just for this purpose. Even bringing potatoes across the border is illegal cause of the danger of different diseases. You can, however, grow any potato in a pot or a bed, which does not have direct contact with the ground it's on.
At David Stahl 3164 wrote,
Seems like planting can be slightly tedious in the beginning, but after a few weeks, all you have to do is remember to water the plants and you'll be good.
At Mamalina 123 wrote,
A few pieces of unsolicited advice. 1. Tomatoes only like their toes to get wet, so water at the base. Try to keep water off the leaves, as this will contribute to blight. 2. Throw the blighted tomatoes in your garbage, not your compost. You don't want to spread any diseases or bad microbes back into your soil. 3. If the beer trick doesn't work for the slugs, try copper tape, broken eggshells, or straw. They don't like any of those. 4. Wait for the potato plants to turn yellow and fall over before harvesting. 5. When strawberries start emerging, place straw underneath the plant to keep slugs away and keep the fruit from dragging on the ground. Hence the name Strawberry 6. Larger courgettes? We call them zucchini the US. Will drain the most energy from the plant, so check your plants daily. However, it seems like there's always one that get away. The squash flowers are also edible. 7. I like to hide crops in my front yard as well. Try mixing lettuces, green beans, or peppers here and there. No one will notice but you. We have 6 blueberry bushes in our front yard. They look like regular landscape shrubs. 8. Most importantly, have fun with it. After a while, you'll know what works and what doesn't.
At Lizzie Beasy wrote,
Things I like to grow cause it tends to add up on costs are herbs that we'll use mostly every day. Thyme, mint, green onions, garlic chives, and chilies. They literally can grow in anything, and we usually have the big bottles of 5 liters of water that we use to plant them in and put them in or out the shed, depending on the season. Maybe this summer we'll plant potatoes and tomatoes and pumpkins or chayote. Mostly the latter, as it's so good, and you can cook either the vines or the fruit itself. You save so much on the long run.
Esquinga Squingle wrote,
If you had more space, it would have been better, but to save even that small amount sometimes is really nice, especially when the food prices dramatically increase.
Teeny Babs wrote,
We used to enjoy growing our own veg many years ago, but after a house fire we gave up. We have decided to get back into it. Think the tomato shortage has helped push that along. Still, nothing beats fresh veg and salad. Great job for your first time, and as you said, startup costs are a one-time thing, whereas you will get to grow your own yearly. Off to nosy at your other vids.
At user C9RF3XC4J wrote,
Great content. Really appreciate your down-to-earth vibe, your knowledge sharing, and your positive attitude. Definitely worth a sub. Thank you for taking the time and effort to film the whole process.
At Nick Gage 1438 wrote,
Rip spent all this time growing potatoes, and then boiled them. Might as well buy them from anywhere you want, if you gonna boil all the good shit out of them.
At Evidza Lorraine wrote,
Hi, thanks for the vid. On minute 558, what is it that you added? Is that a bag of compost that you dumped on top of the raised garden bed, or was it soil that you added on top? Can I have the brand or link, please? Thank you.
At Jimmy Large 1148 wrote,
Let your potatoes go longer next time. Wait till the plant's part is fallen over and dead. You can wait even longer if I want. Be careful of green potatoes. They can be poisonous.
At Transparent Ghost 2817 wrote,
And then I ordered bulbs and stuff, and then I started germinating seeds. Tomatoes, potatoes, and various other things. You just know this dude is growing weed. D. No man reads a book to grow potatoes. D.
At Orange Turtle 2737 wrote,
Best way to break down clay is manure, as Chilo don't use like Don't add sand. Add plenty of manure. Clay is beautiful, it holds moisture, and has all the minerals for healthy plants. Make sure you let some crop go to seed so you can collect them up for next season's harvest. Beautiful channel. I really enjoyed watching this. Keep going, bud. You're doing great.
Budenby wrote,
Amen. If you end up rebuilding it again, add some chicken wire in the clay layer. You go from having the clay replacement every year or two to having to replace it every 5 or 6 years.
Ermel 331 wrote,
The potatoes needed a little more time. That's why they were so small. You also don't have to worry about leaving them in the ground too long. You can harvest them on demand.
Celestix 2.0 wrote,
This reminds me when I had a chili garden when I was in 3rd grade. It was just a small project we had to do for recycling, so I decided to use some aluminum trays and planted some chilies in it. They sprouted once I took them to school, and everyone was amazed. Soon they grew too big, so I set up a garden bed in the ground and planted them. They lasted for about 2 years until my family had gotten into some trouble and I had to stay with another relative. When I got back, they all were dead, and that kinda hurt me a little since I raised them from when I was young. I'm planning to start another garden soon, and it's happy to see other people getting into it.
Let's_be_real wrote,
I think if you keep growing, the price will go down because you already have the tools and soil, and you just need the seeds. Not sure if I'm wrong.
Jeremy Sanders 8138 wrote,
Composting yourself would have saved you a lot of money for sure. Any leftover foliage, ash from fires, feces, any organic matter at all, in a bin sitting year-round. Bam compost.
Maximchikov 1350 wrote,
You can try slug traps like digging a hole and bury a plastic cup/bottle leaving 1 to 2 centimeters the edge above the ground and fill it with beer. It works great.
The Waco Kid 1963 wrote,
You'd grow a lot more if you didn't use them trenches. Both my grandfathers were very keen gardeners and used what soil area to the max. The only time they used trenches was when they grew leeks for competitive shows. But these were made from reclaimed timber, such as old railway sleepers, doors, or tin sheeting. Those types of trenches must cost a small fortune to make from fresh timber, and then there's the cost of buying either compost or soil to fill them. To me, it's lazy gardening and bloody expensive.
Chantal Prince 3360 wrote,
So fun to see how much you learned and how much it actually paid off. I remember getting so excited about growing my own crops. So relaxing, waking up earlier just to water my plants in the spring mornings.
40 Kupas were here wrote,
One of my fondest memories as a kid was seeing a massive pile of potatoes. Dude. Well, you did find your calling, keep it up. I feel like this is the way to go these days.
Mark Reagan 6464 wrote,
About 6 or 7 years ago, I started growing again, had some knowledge, not a lot. Built 6 4x8 raised beds. The first harvest, onions, carrot, beets, zucchini, other squash, peas, etc. I stopped weighing at a ton. Less than 6 months, over 2,000 pounds of produce. Although much smaller harvests, I was able to get 3 harvests that year USDA Zone 9B. Realistically, close to 2,500 pounds of produce, not including the entire bed of garlic that I did not harvest until the following year, over 400 heads in total. Experiment, learn and grow. If I can do something, pretty much anyone can, I suppose. I am retired in Zone 6B now, hope to get close to 500 pounds this year. Best of luck and enjoy.
Deathpire 42 wrote,
So, I used to work construction and part of the job was digging through some pretty solid clay. Think a clay layer on a mountainside filled with rocks that had been further compacted by a couple tons of scaffolding. The trick to digging through it is to get a hoe/trench, shovel/matic, anything where the blade's at roughly 90-degree angle relative to the shaft, and sort of hack your way through it until you get the initial depth you want. Then expand that initial hole by using that same hacking motion at the bottom to weaken the layers of clay above it until you start to notice fissures above where you're hitting. Then use a crowbar to sort of expand those fissures until the clay comes off in fairly large chunks. It's slow going but definitely doable.
At Jacob Anderson 7102 wrote,
When we plant our potatoes, we cut them up and make sure the eyes are on every piece. Get 8 or so pieces per potato and plant them junks. Always works for us.
At Lives Tapestry 2968 wrote,
Make sure you get a compost going from all the waste veg. Within roughly a year, you'll be able to put that compost to good use and save yourself some money on expensive bags of compost. It's better too.
Kylie Jonkman wrote,
At Just Alex, I love this video. Really inspiring, and you've just shown how simple it is to grow your own veg. I really think they should be teaching these skills in school. Plus, everyone who has a garden can do this instead of my pet hate. Concrete or astroturf the gardens.
At Odumja 3980 wrote,
I have got advice once from an old lady. She said grow more food than you need, that it's going to be enough for you and the other bugs to eat. Some of it will be eaten by bugs, and it's left enough for you too. It worked for me. Your garden looks amazing. In trying raised beds this year too.
At 101 Sarasaurus wrote,
Just want to say I really enjoyed and appreciated this video as an absolute beginner that hasn't set up a garden yet due to renting, but always wanted to. Maybe next year I can do a big garden like this.
At Pen of Inspiration wrote,
Let me share my 2C. Your beds are small for the amount of seeds you plant. Too much seed on a small bed means tiny produce. If you want big potatoes, big carrots, and big onions, you need to space them. Your soil beds will only take 10 potato seeds, 20 spaced carrots.
At Layla 2023 wrote,
You can just dig straight into the ground, use a smaller piece of wood recycled from something, and then you dump a load of stuff in the hole, like wood, food, cardboard, etc., etc. It creates natural compost. You actually don't need to spend anything on the setup. There are loads of YT tutorials on it. It's called no-dig gardening, so if you had done it that way, you would have saved money. Also, if, like you say, you get some chickens, even free old ones from chicken farms, then they would have controlled your pest problem, and you can use their waste in your compost. You would save even more money because they give you eggs and save your plants. I think you should really keep going with it and get some chickens. Even just 2 chickens, they'll give you a couple of free eggs per day. I have a small veg garden and 1 chicken, and I save money.
At Chase Warnick 2599 wrote,
You didn't lose money, you traded money for experience, as well as the power of knowing what was in the food that you consumed, since you were the sole cultivator.
At Elihu Thompson 4446 wrote,
And volcanic ash has like 83 minerals in it. Add it to your garden when you're able, and tree leaves. Compost you vegetables left from your meals. I am a descendant of King Edward III.
At Helen Luzie wrote,
Slugs like beer. Put pots of beer around your garden. The slugs will be attracted to it and fall in. And OBE, without arms. They're not able to swim, to put it nicely. LOL.
At Avi 8632 wrote,
Fun fact, I believe those strings that attach to the poles on the snap peas are called tendrils. Can someone fact check me just to make sure that's the correct terminology?
At Larizids wrote.
A thing about the soil. Spanish is a sacred language. We have the same word for soil, earth, dirt, without a negative or dirty connotation. So those three words are related as our powerful source of living.
5092 Mine wrote.
Sadly, I'm very LDT for your video. All green matter from the plants you should chop and mix with the soil for the winter. It will be amazingly good fertilizer. Also, you could get a few buckets of cow manure for each bed. It stinks a ton, but you will see much more and much better plants.
At Web TV wrote.
Let's just turn it to onions and potatoes LOL, as the others would need more attention and pesticides probably. I've got no experience with plants, but it seems onions are the best deal. Thanks for sharing.
Akelianaman 6502 wrote.
Simple slug/snail solution. Get some beer, sacrifice one into a half-buried container/cup. The pests will smell the sweetness and drink till they have alcohol poisoning. Empty corpses and complete sacrifice again as needed.
DeFloratoro wrote.
Man, our generation, is relearning standard knowledge of the last 2,000 years. There is something called August burnout, because there is so much to do, to eat, and to relax in the sun. What I noticed, almost everything is harvested too early.
At Antonio Pearson 02 wrote.
You didn't lose anything when you grow your own food. Who cares about the amount? It's all natural, and you can do this season after season. It pays for itself over time. Teach your children, and they'll never starve. No price to this IMO.
At Amaruffo wrote.
This is fantastic. We plan to do just this year, and it has given me so much hope. I can't wait to see how the beekeeping goes.
Esteel_Squire wrote.
If you don't have any pets and don't want things eating your plants, a tiny little ice is planting mint next to your crops, as it's toxic to most things except humans, so animals and critters avoid it.
At Ultra Russian 221 wrote.
Here's a tip for anyone planning to garden every year. Switch up where you planted the vegetables, because the spot you had the first year has nutrients that is great for other plants and vice versa.
At Heloisa Silva 5554 wrote.
Tarai o quintal de minha casa est ocupado, com milho e feijão, porém estão acabando. Vendo o video, e lendo comentários, Juvonte de planta pepino. Já estava pensando, chachu. Now pork gosto, Marcia cute bonito e de quebra-me gosta, so quer agravo planta também o pepino. Acho interessante, que voquias plantas bastante batata. Plante uma vez uns tu sem muito interessante, massa sensaço de colher algo, que não estou acostumada, foi muito bom. Também gostei de colher cebola, e acute bom colher produtos, que não estamos acostumados a planta, apesar de utilizar bastante.
Onter batata e cenoura. Utilizo me cenoura.
No quintal tem pace de maracujás. Tá muito mais muito bonito. Ok pepino, chachu, cebola e talvez cenoura. Boa inspiração.
The Thinking Monkey wrote.
The literal cost of the vegetables you grew may have been only 64 pounds, but the feeling of happiness, self-satisfaction, and self-reliance were worth at least £1 million easily. Great job, my friend.
A Jack Benimble 7301 wrote.
All in all, you spent time and money to get the materials and the labor to grow this stuff I pass and ill go to. The store every time life's too short to FK round with growing shit. If you ain't no farmer doing large-scale stuff, it ain't worth it.
At Neil Barnett 3046 wrote,
Snow in February. Oh, you poor thing. We've had snow on my birthday. In May, and that's just South Yorkshire, barely in the north. My wife planted spinach, broccoli, and kale. It took the local slugs nearly 3 days to eat the lot. With the cost of preparation, seedlings, a net loss of around £20. Even then, it would have produced about £10 worth of actual food.
I'd never be a farmer, so I'm leaving it to experts from now on.
At Catherine Emerson 1673 wrote,
Oh my goodness, not the evil carbon dioxide. I have yet to understand the logic, or science, behind reducing carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. The levels are not historically high, vastly reducing fertilizers, while also reducing the number of farm animals, which naturally produce fertilizer. And wanting us all to eat more plants, which require more carbon dioxide and fertilizer. Are they trying to kill us? Or do they want us to eat food only produced in an artificial environment?
At Super LP Gaming wrote,
Okay, dude, how you did and how they do is not the same. They inject with a lot of shit into the vegetable. But nice you got to enjoy it.
At Wendy Shuaching 4161 wrote,
Not chicken, duck. For garlic and shallots to last can be done in a day. No need sun dry. Garlic chopped in flakes, fried in palm cooking oil. Fried garlic oil keep in bottle, use noodles, blanc vegetables with oyster sauce, stir-fried, various cooking, instant noodles and spaghetti sauce cooking. Use little each time. Fried garlic can use long time. Shallots same way but cutting different method flakes. Fried garlic, fried shallots and their fragrant oil can sell very well to commercial kitchen restaurants, therefore can be mass-produce and sell, make money. Just you plant and sun dry wrong way. Because garlic China, India, import is very cheap, no point planting. Just use the garden space to set up your cooking equipment and packing area. Make lots of money. Buy a giant Chinese wok and start frying garlic and shallots in bottle 1L oil and 500g glass can with plastic or tin cover for sale to cooking restaurants. They will definitely love your products. No need manually chopped and peel garlic every time cooking. Just pour 1 tablespoon fried garlic to the cooking every time. Once you teach them, every household and restaurants will be your client.
At Marigavilla 567 wrote,
This video encourages people who would like to start planting their food. It's insane how much effort you have to put into this content, and I hope other YouTubers will do the same. Thank you for giving us genuine and honest content.
At Ford Prefect in Charge 6x7 wrote,
Very nice. Wait till you find out about companion plants. Basil is a great companion plant for tomatoes. It confuses or repels most things that like to eat them. Probably best to interplant them for maximum bug confusion. I don't know what that blight was, but I bet someone else in the comments does. Birds and squirrels like to eat veggies, and they hit them as soon as they start ripening. Sometimes a lot less ripe than you'd pick them. Birds hate shiny things, as it's really bad to be blinded while flying. Maybe that's why they crap on clean cars. There are any number of fun, shiny garden decorations out there. If you've got climbing, cucumbers, this next one works best because it grows quite high. Amaranth. Bugs that eat cucumbers much prefer amaranth, also known as pigweed. The bonus is that the amaranth leaves and seeds grain are edible too. Having tried making amaranth grain into a porridge, it's incredibly starchy. Maybe it's best left to chickens, lol. Oh, and chickens will utterly destroy a garden because they like veggies almost as much as bugs. They will even eat winter squash and pumpkins before they're even ripe. Potatoes need maximum sunlight to get big. Many people harvest them when the top starts to die, after it has stored as much energy starch into the potatoes as possible. If you've got a variety that flowers, either cut them off or harvest the potatoes before the flowers open. Flowers use a lot of a plant's energy, and they will stop sending that energy to the potatoes underground. I love your sincerity and down to earth manner. Keep it up. Cheers from Idaho.
At Vile Storms wrote,
13, 16 you harvested too early. You want to wait until the flower shrivels to pick them. Our growing seasons are super short, so I start my potatoes in 5-gallon buckets inside in March and then move them outside after the last snowfall in late May, mid-June, and harvest in September before the frost.
At Marklesham 2942 wrote,
You should start composting all those peels from your roast potatoes. Cucumbers should be trained to climb a trellis or something similar, as they're safer from slugs, and it saves space. Hill up your potatoes for bigger yields.
At Vinny 200 wrote,
Great video. You filmed the things I think about doing. XD always wanted my own veg patch. Just got a house with a garden, but it's tiny and have a kid, so not gonna happen unless I get a mini greenhouse. Only thing I've ever grown are spring onions. Used to love fresh runner beans, tomatoes from my dad's garden. They tasted amazing. Oh.
At Gloria Saldred wrote,
Against slugs, you should use spoiled milk traps. We had the same issue. There is Noon living at the neighbor's house, and the garden is like a jungle. But those traps got most of the slugs. The only issue is that they smell real bad.
At Gloria Saldred wrote,
Potatoes are easy to grow and needless plants, other than covering them well. The only issue we always have is the potato beetle infestation. It is really annoying.
Deet My Dick wrote,
This is the problem with you Westerns. You try to do things by the book, and at the end you screw yourselves. I have a small garden, about 15 meters x 7 meters. The seeds I got for free from my grandfather. The soil is obviously free. And for the year, I gathered about 180 kgs of green peppers, 90 kgs of cucumbers, 135 kgs of tomatoes, and 3 watermelons. No idea why they didn't grow. I was told to expect at least 20 watermelons per root. I also gathered about 50 kgs of zucchinis. You buying these GMO seeds, this chemical soil, nothing would grow. In Eastern Europe, it is the most normal thing to grow your own veggies, and it just causes pain to watch your disabled hands try to do real work.
At Zero the Hero GOAT wrote,
And ice. How did you grow such nice and uniform pastas? Mine doesn't even grow. I just dig up the dirty ones I planted months earlier and end up with the exact same amount I started out with.
Ed Miranduri wrote,
You learn self-sustainability and homegrown crops are cleaner and more delicious. As a gardener, it makes my heart happy to see a young man grow food.
Azimac Z wrote,
2002 crop rotation, 1 or 2 seasons of fallow, and remixing the soil with clay will keep it fertile. Maybe go to a farm that has pigs or horses or cows, and with that excess manure, and mix some of that in too. Mixing from those sources is better than a single source X3, but with the already existing plots, the no longer needed soil bags, you can grow food without costing more and finally paying off.
Azimac Z wrote,
1304, the potatoes needed longer to grow and possibly late planting. If there's been a bit of frost over them, they get better. I'd say like early fall planting of potatoes, harvest early/mid spring.
Azimac Z wrote,
Grow rhubarbs and sugar beets as well. When they are grown, pulp the sugar beets, add water, and sieve out the remaining pulp that doesn't dissolve in the water. Cut the rhubarbs into snippets, very thin, and scoop some water from the beets and boil it together using a wide pan, which evaporates and concentrates the sugar content, but not too much. The boiled rhubarb tastes best when the flavor comes out equal with the sweet from the sugar beets. Takes a little getting used to at first, but before you know it, you will love it. It's also very nutritious when not too sweet. I myself prefer undersweet.
Ed Billy Bob 44567 wrote,
You don't have to wait for potatoes to sprout, cut them in half or quarters, and put them in the ground. And wait till the tops are dead on potatoes to harvest them. I live in the USA and farm, but you lived and learned, and I think you did a pretty good job regardless. The most important thing is that you learn not what you did. Good job.
Ed Arafat Gila 7331 wrote,
Hi Alex, I enjoyed a lot your video about panting. Can I ask you what reference or book you took for Planet? I want to start plant like you do. Thank you.
At Ryan_Tidwell wrote,
It's really cool and fun to grow your own stuff. Unfortunately for us, it costs more just for the water than it would cost to buy everything at the store. We still grow some things, but we lose money every time.
At Harley Criswell 8504 wrote,
If anyone didn't mention it, it usually takes 3 years before you can make money or save a significant amount from having a garden. This is because of upfront cost of getting started, loss, and eventually getting more efficient and better yields as you learn.
At Infamous Armadillo wrote,
What happened to the plants that had that white powdery thing on is called powdery mildew and is a fungal pest. I would recommend using potassium bicarbonate 1 TSP/liter and apply that to the plant at the first sign of disease. Note that I got this from a quick search of how to get rid of powdery mildew on plants. Hope this helped.
At Kevin Chernenkoff wrote,
I had major slug problems in my greenhouse in Canada, and my chewed up vegetables looked exactly like yours that got eaten. I also appreciate the honest review of the imbalance of costs of a first-time small-scale garden compared to the grocery market. I also have lost money compared to the grocery store, trying to grow my own. But I think your points about the benefits are very true, and overall it's a good skill to have. Or in my case, knowledge of how not to garden. Lol.
At Tana Corley 4936 wrote,
I grow potatoes from sprouting ones that were bought for eating. They say to buy seed potatoes and you avoid disease, but I have never had problems. Cherry tomatoes are easy and ready during salad season. Big varieties are lovely, but arrive later. Oh, and we love French beans and find them easy. I love it when we can make a salad Nicoise picked from the garden. Really enjoy your video. Thank you.